Shalom. Honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Shem Shah's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando. And just back with the third edition of the Delusions of You Women and Why You're Going to Need a Man of Yahweh Shem Shai. Alright, as order is being reestablished on the earth. Alright. And as a man, as men, like it tells in Ecclesiastes 12, our whole duty, purpose, our whole calling, reason of existing is to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Because as a man, as men, we have a natural sense of duty. And of course, we were taught that duty is to be in servitude to the women, the children. All right. You wonder why, relationships are never stable. No one's ever happy. All right. Because everything is just out of order, Come to find out again, when we find when we are called into our true purpose, which is again to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. All right. That's when we find true stability and peace. All right. And it's likewise you women, being that, as I was mentioning, as I mentioned before, you women, being that you operate outside of your natural use. And again, you're wondering why you're always just miserable. All right. You have this void that can't be filled. And again, likewise to the men, when we're called into this truth, that void is filled. All right. We feel complete. All right. And that applies to you women as well. When you are serving your purpose, as I mentioned before, and of course we're in 2025 AD. So, we're in this environment where women have to work. All right. But it's so much easier, and you woman, you find it out, or you will find out if you haven't already. Life is so much easier for you when you serve your purpose, when you're playing your role, your natural role. Because this is what Esau teaches you to say the hell with your natural role. Being in servitude to a man, but you find yourself being a lot more happy when you play your natural role. Being a helpmeet. To your man. But this is why judgment has to come. All right, and this is why the kingdom has to be established on earth. All right. But nevertheless, as I said before, one way or the other, your women are going to find out, as you already are finding out. You're already beginning to see, you've been feeling, all right, the effects of not having a helper, not having that protection, that guidance, just being without, which is it's a helpless feeling. It's a hopeless feeling. It's a horrible feeling, but again, you made your bed and now you have to sleep in it. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play some of these examples.
Yes.
And, as a woman, all you could do is scream. One thing I realized, and like I said before, women in time of calamity, they revert back to their natural estate, which is to seek a man's protection. They revert back to that state of being a possession, because of course, naturally, when a woman you know, when she's in calamity, what is the first thing that she do? She screams to the top of her lungs, man. You know, in hopes of, hey, someone will come to her defense. Because that is a woman's natural defense, to scream, you know, to be loud. And, you know, I came to that understanding through the Spirit, you know, because, you know, Eve, man, you know, Eve is just loud as hell for no reason. You know, she's always loud, you know, always loud for no reason, you know, but that is a woman's natural defense, you know, is to yell, to scream, you know. But like I said, you know, revert back to that natural estate, you know, because as times get darker, you know, what are you gonna do in these times? As I read earlier, what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? Because guaranteed, if there was a man present, if there was a man around, you know, this would have been averted. Because I watched certain of these guys, these serial killers, these pedos, all right, you know, and they'll tell you, you know, when you watch these videos, they'll put it out there how, as far as, because they're asked a question, how do they pick their victims? And basically they look for those that are vulnerable, you know. And oftentimes, again, when a woman, when she's with a man, naturally that would divert, that would be a natural diversion. If a woman, if she's already with a man, you know, obviously that's not an easy target, you know. But a woman that's by herself, she's vulnerable. Why? Because again, she's a possession. All right, she's a spoil. You see? And not only that, because again, as a man, as I always say, we're conquerors by nature. So naturally, and that's why women are like children, man. Because, you know, you got to think for them. Someone has to think for them. Someone has to think for a woman. Because, you know, a woman should be out and about, and she'll have no sense of no sense of circumcision, or excuse me, no sense of being circumspect, being aware, no sense of alertness. Versus a man, naturally, he's, you know, he's aware, he's cautious of his surrounding, you know, he's alert, you know. So like I said, watching certain of these guys, these ex-serial killers and, you know, pedos and things of that nature, you know, that's some of the things that they talk about, you know, especially when it comes to children. You know, oftentimes they'll see the parent, and oftentimes, most of the time, if not all the time, 100% of the time, you know, what is that diversion? It's the father. It's that manly figure. You know, immediately, you know, on to the next target. You know, so again, to show you the importance of you know, of a man. You know, that protection. All right, that hedge, as I'm going to get later. But I got a few more examples. And guarantee you she's screaming for help. Guarantee you she's reverting back to her natural estate and being a possession. All right, seeking the help of someone to come along and play Captain Saberho. But again, posing the question, what are you going to do in that day when, you know, all hell is in full effect, all hell is breaking loose, Jacob's trouble is in full effect, and no one's coming to save you. You women, you know, in particular, no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to your aid. What are you going to do in that day? That's why, again, it will behoove you. Because at this point, brothers are so focused on their purpose, which is, again, serving Yahweh Shai. That is our whole duty as a man. All right. And that's why, you women are really going to have to come with it. You're really going to have to come with it. You're going to have to bring your A++ game. All right. Yeah, A++. All right. No half stepping. Because again, you women alone, you women as it is, man, you're already a baggage. All right. Extra baggage. As tough as it may sound, you women are extra baggage, man. So that's why you're really going to have to humble down or not. And a lot of you women are going to be in these scenarios. I got more examples. Another one here. So you see, again, when calamity hits, as a woman, you revert back to what you are, a possession. And you can't help but to do anything but scream in hopes of someone coming to your defense. So that's why, man, again, because like I said in the last part, the idea of Isaiah 4:1 and the fact that majority of you women can't grasp the concept is the fact that, and I can't, this is just me coming to this conclusion, other than, just the fact that, the devil is working with you right now, you got Satan on you right now. But other than that fact, you're just insecure, man, because like I said, just coming to my own conclusion, what it boils down to is insecurity. Like I said on the last part, because like I just said earlier, as a man, you have to think for these women. As men, you got to think for these women. That's why, hey, again, to speak on Isaiah 4:1, it's not going to be some rap video, man, where you're going to have all these fine ass women. Nah, man, it's going to come with a whole lot of headaches, baggage. Speaking to the brothers. All right. Because imagine when 7 women come, and however many that may be, it might be 7 women. All right, seven exact women. Where, hey, that's 7 personalities that you got to deal with, that you have to think for. Just so brothers can get an understanding of, what it's going to be like. Some brothers might have 50 women. That's 50 personalities, 50 individuals that you have to think for. And me even thinking about the topic, because I get aggravated quick, man, and I got to work on that. I get aggravated quick. A lot of brothers are, a lot of us are old, but we're like a lot of us are young, but we're like that old grumpy man. I get told that all the time. You're so grumpy. You got to stop being a grumpy old man, because I get aggravated quick, So even thinking about the topic of Isaiah 4, when I get aggravated, man, because one is enough, Dealing with one woman alone is a handful in itself. That's why, it's not for everybody at this point. Some brothers can handle it, But hey, kudos to you, because just one enough. One dealing with one alone is like that. My goodness. They say that women live longer than men. Well, that's because you damn women, run the man to the grave, man. Stress you out if you let it, But like I said, 50 personalities you might have, and I'm not even talking about, because you are gonna have some men amongst that innumerable multitude. They're not prophets, and you're gonna have children as well. But I'm not even talking about the men and the children. I'm just talking about just the women. All right, 50 women during Jacob's trouble. That's 50 individuals, just the women alone, that you have to think for. All right, 100 women. Imagine that. That's 100 women that you have to think for, because these women, someone needs to. That's why they have to be led. They need to be guided. Someone has to think for them. Because like I said, going back to like I said, man, women, they're not. Their alertness level is hella low. It's hella low. versus a man, you know, by nature, you know, we have this, we're warriors, you know. So by nature, you know, we're going to the establishment, man. You checking all the restaurants, or excuse me, you checking all the exits, you know, looking at potential threats, whatever the case may be, you know, just aware at all times, circumspect at all times. Versus the woman, she's clueless, lollygagging. All right. Even the scriptures go into how, you know, when you go out, man, you go shopping or whatever, hey, get what you need and get the hell out, you know. And that'd be a lot of brother sentiment, you know, get in and get out. But women, they want to window shop, go up and down the aisles 3-4 times, you know, just take your sweet time and shit, you know. So that's why a lot of women are going to end up getting caught out there, you know. You're not alert. You're not aware of your surroundings. All right. You're not wise, you know. So, because I was making a point, like I said, what it boils down to, when it comes to the whole Isaiah 4:1 and men have multiple women, majority of you women are just insecure, man. Because what do you think? You think, and that's why I said, you men, as a man, you have to think for these women, you know. Men can think as a woman. Women can't think as men, you know. The way that the Lord set it up, as far as, you know, our structure and women's DNA structure, you know. That's why I like the whole saying, because they, one of those arguments that they put out there is a woman can't raise a man, you know, and she can't, you know, she can't. Versus a man, he can raise a woman and a man, you know, he can raise a boy and a girl, you know. And even Esau's so-called, his science will tell you that, you know, just the way that, like I said, the DNA structure of a man and of a woman, you know. But they need to be let, man. You know, they need to be, someone needs to think on their behalf. All right. Got another one here. And this woman, she just so happened to be somewhat aware of what was going on, you know, alert, you know. Because imagine if she wasn't on her phone or some shit. Imagine if she was on her phone or some shit, you know, just be completely being uncircumspect, you know. Just imagine. Because like I said, as a man, you know, we're warriors, you know, we're alert, we're checking for potential threats. You know, our minds be racing, our minds be all over the place, you know. But a woman, she'd be walking with her head down, all on the phone, TikTok, just not aware of her surroundings whatsoever. And that's why you end up getting caught out there. You know?
You good? Are you good? Huh? What you doing tonight? What? Trying to get nasty?
No.
Why not? Yeah.
You came in my video. That's nasty. Sometimes you come up with
Came somewhere
trying to
else,
get nasty.
like-
Nobody's trying to get nasty.
What you mean? I'm dirty? I'm dirty?
Yeah, you are dirty. I don't even know.
Man, yo, why are you touching me like that? Like, you mad aggressive, but I'm gonna fuck
Don't
you
touch
up right
me.
now. Like,
Are you dumb?
You look good.
Are you dumb?
Yo, I got it. I got a
My
card.
man was smoking.
Your man was smoking your man.
No, my man is smoking.
You look sexy. You down here by yourself anyway. You're not trying to do nothing?
No.
What's up? Can we do it?
No, we cannot.
Why not?
Yo, bro.
Give me a fucking tripod, boss. Like, and I got your phone. I'm about to put my number in. 646. You feel me? Like, what's up? What's your phone for? You ain't trying to give me none? Yo, yeah. This is what she get when she ain't trying to give me none. Come on, hold my hand.
I don't care. This is a video.
Alright, you gotta follow me. If you want your phone back, you gotta follow me. So you might follow me to the crib type shit. You feel me? You heard y'all? Come on, you taking long. You gotta come to my crib. Oh, phone.
So you see, man, hey, with situations like these, man, hey, man, these dudes ain't gonna be letting up, you know. It's bad enough, like I mentioned in the last part. Hey, niggas out here walking around with all type of highest testosterone. Niggas are deprived. Like I said, a lot of problems that men deal with in some way, shape, form, or fashion, it comes from a woman. You know, a lot of niggas that are locked up. A lot of times it's from a woman in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So, hey, when the more these spirits get turned up out here, you know, hey, you know, shit ain't gonna be going easy, man. It ain't gonna be going easy, you know. For your women, Shorty mentioned how her man this and her man was gonna, you know, basically, you know, pew pew, you know. But where's he at though? You know, you're in the middle of the street. Middle of the street. It looks like it's dark, getting dark, late probably. You know, in the middle of the street doing dumbass TikTok videos, man. Dumbass videos, man. You know. Now I don't know if this some sort of a skit. I doubt it. You know, but you see, back in the ancient world, man. Back in the ancient world, hey, if a woman had to go out, shop or whatever the case may be, hey, she would basically have a chaperone or someone would go with her. You know, because that's how it's supposed to be. Again, because like I mentioned in the last part, this is why you had instances where grape was a thing, and as far as our apostles, you know, they just bring out the law on how to deal with it when it happened. Because again, we don't condone men sleeping with underage girls. All right, we don't condone that. You know, but it happened, and you know this is the part that people miss. You know, when all these people, all these camps, man, they want to say that we're grapists, but they missed the point. They missed the mark. You know. But nevertheless, it happened. All right. You know, and even with that being said, you know, you see Shorty, man, her hardiness. You see, and that hardiness, that pride, is getting ready to be humbled, man. You know, because whether you know it or not, you woman, you have a lot of influence. She could have went about this a whole completely different way. You know, that outcome would have been totally different. You know, if you just would have humbled down. First of all, why are you out there by yourself, anyways? Again, you said you had a man. Well, where is he at? Why aren't you with your man? Or why is he with you? You see? Because like I said, niggas don't care, you know. Adultery, man, that's a big thing amongst our people. A lot of our Jake men are sodomites. They're down lows, you know. So, you know, but like I said, whether you women know it or not, and a lot of you do know, you know, but some of you don't. As far as the influence that you have, like the scripture say, a soft answer turneth away wrath. This could have went completely different if she just would have humbled herself down, because she still had a sense of pride and a spirit of pride. You know, the days that we're coming into, ain't gonna be no asking. You know, Jake, you know, just being a goofball about it and shit. Nah, man, the days are coming when, like I said, Jake gonna be releasing the attention, like to quote the elder Malcolm. You know, hey, the day is coming for you women. The cock carousel is gonna ride you. All right. Again, a lot of you women have done these niggas wrong. You done brothers wrong, and you're walking around here, thinking that you don't have to pay for your crimes. You don't have to pay for your atrocities. You don't have to pay for your actions. You know. But the day is coming for you women. All right. Reckoning is coming for you women. Humbling is coming for you women. Now, again, because this could have went completely different if she would have tapped into her femininity, you know. Because like I said, man, you women, whether you know it or not, you have a lot of influence, you know. And oftentimes, one particular account, you know, when you read about Abigail, right, and how her husband basically did King David wrong. You know, King David, he was about to go out there and you know, he was about to go out there and handle that. You know, he was about to go take care of business. You know, he was about to get carnal with it until Abigail stepped in and used her influence. When you read that account, Abigail, she used her influence. all right, and stop David from getting carnal, going off, and the Lord ended up dealing with Abigail's husband anyways. And what happened? Hey, that freed her up, and she became King David's wife. Because like I mentioned in the last part, for you women that don't have a man of Yahweh Shema Shai, well, just sit back and wait. The Lord will provide a way. All right. But, you women that have husbands, and he might be a 2/3, he might be a no good. Well, hey, just wait. The Lord will set it up to where, hey, the Lord will get rid of him and bring you to a man of the Lord like Abigail. But nevertheless, that influence that she had on King David, preventing him from going off. So like I said, that's just one of account where, hey, that the influence that you women possess, a soft answer turns away wrath. This could have went completely different. So get with it or not. Because again, what are you gonna do when it's the real deal? It's the real thing. And these dudes out here that are they're lust, burned in their lust, can't control themselves, they have no discipline. All this testosterone, they ain't even gonna take no for an answer. They ain't even gonna ask. They just gonna take. What are you gonna do in that day? And again, because pride, man, you think the woman can't be touched because, again, your husband, your God, your daddy Esau tells you that you're untouchable. Well, all right, we gonna see. But I'm gonna play this video as well. I got this video here. Now there's a whole episode on it. But this clip here, going into these fit chicks and average Joes, and Lord willing, I remember I'll post the whole because like I said, it's a whole episode, and this is just a clip, but they basically they got some fit chicks, powerlifter chicks or whatever, chicks lift weights or whatever, versus just some regular average Joes, beer bellies, and the fit chicks, for the most part, they couldn't, get they couldn't pass they basically they couldn't beat these average men. So that's what this clip is going into. Salakia.
That was cooked. Average Joe. Point.
Yeah. No, my ego's hurting.
Round 2. 3, 2, 1, go. It's still good. It's still good. She has to make it out of the circle. Average Joe's point. Last and final point. 3, 2, 1, go. Good strength by Brooke. Average Joe's point. Good game. 3 points for Average Joe's, 1 point for Strong Ladies. This is absolutely crazy. I thought this is going a completely different way than I originally anticipated.
So you see, all right. Like I said, it's a whole episode. And Lord willing, I remember I'll post it in the description. But again, to show you the dynamic between a man and a woman. Here it is. These regular, these average Joes. They whoop these supposed to be fit women. And that's another thing. Because what adds on to you women. You got women out here taking martial arts classes and things of that nature, as if that's going to save you. Because all it takes is the right. You might have a woman, 225 pounds pure muscle. 6 foot 225 pure muscle, right? Fit chick, right? But hey, that shit don't mean nothing, because all it takes is a right demon. It might be 150 pound 5'6" nigga, all right? But all it takes is the right legion. All it takes is the right amount of demons. Hey, like I said, man, it ain't gonna be no asking. All right, it's just gonna be taken. Bitches are walking around here thinking that you Gal Gadot, or Gal Gadot, right? Or Wonder Woman and shit. Well, you're gonna find out, man. All right, you're gonna find out. But what else do I got? So not circumspect whatsoever. All right. Left the door wide open, car running and everything. You know, lucky they didn't take off with the car or take off with her life. You know, because again, you know, hey, these little petty crimes, man, it's only going to get worse. You know, like I said, these dudes are walking around here, all this testosterone, ready for whatever, ready for action, man. And you can see it, especially when we downtown. You know, we see it every week, man. You know, them bugged out. You can just see. You know, you can see these people, man. They got that gloss look on them, man. They've got that 1,000-yard stare, man. It's just a matter of, you can see the demons on these people. That's why we got to be circumspect, because you can see it. And it's just a matter of Yahweh Shem Shai flipping that switch. Cause you could tell, man. I know I could tell every week, man. We were downtown, man. Hey, a lot of them dudes, man. They just waiting, boy. All them chickens that be walking downtown. All right, so-called bad bitches that be walking downtown. You know, and it's just a matter of time. Like I said, it's just a matter of the Lord flipping that switch, man. And niggas just gonna be taking shit. That's why you women are gonna need that hedge of protection. It's Ecclesiasticus 36. Ecclesiasticus 36. Matter of fact, I started 23. If there be kindness, matter of fact, verse 32. I'm sorry. 22. The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better. The beauty of a woman if there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men. So you see, like I mentioned earlier, going back into that influence, you women have a lot of influence, man. More power than you know. You know, I'll say influence. Excuse me. You women have more influence than you know. You know, here it is, you're supposed to be a pillar of rest, but I just go to say, man, at this point, hey, you know, a lot of men just rather dwell. It's better, like the scripture says, better to dwell in the housetop rather than to, dwell in the housetop with a raging, roaring lion or a serpent, or, you know, the most ferocious beast, rather than to be in a house with a goddamn raging woman, man. You know, that shit is not cute. It's unattractive. All right. And you women got to get, because again, you know, as far as men, you know, we learn to be temperate, disciplined, self-controlled, but you women got to learn too how to keep your shit together. You know, you women got to get on point too. You women got to put on the spirit of the fruit, the fruits of the spirit as well. You know, and again, a real woman, she knows her place. You know, she knows when to be quiet. You know, that's a real woman. That's real tapping into that femininity. You know, that's where the real power comes. That's a real woman. The real characteristics, the traits of a woman. All right, soft-spoken, shamefaced. There was a point where, hey, a woman, she wouldn't even look a man in the eye. But in this day and age, a woman, she will look you dead in your eye. You know, she will square up with you, you know. And boy, I'll tell you, man, there's something about you might even have an average woman. She might be a 4 or 5, you know, not so good looking. But, hey, that shamefacedness, man, hey, that shit goes a long way. You know, that shamefacedness, you know, that shamefacedness, it speaks volume, man. Being tender-footed, you know, them dresses, man, ooh-wee, you know. You know, that's what naturally attracts a man, you know. Again, that's that. Your woman, she ain't supposed to be wearing jeans, you know, wearing boots and shit, you know. Again, there was a point in time when a woman, she wanted to let the sole of her foot touch the ground, man. You know, tender-footed, you know. But hey, these bitches be outside walking barefoot, you know, rough ass feet, you know. And man, a man likes that's the soft feet, man. Soft hands and feet, man. You know, soft spoken, just soft everything. But again, you know, just we're in 2025 AD, and you know, women have high testosterone, and men have high levels of cortisol, man. And it's supposed to be the opposite. You know, you got a bunch of soy boys out here, man, and women on highest testosterone. Like I said, man, a woman, she will look you dead in your eye, man. Not only that, she'll square up with you. Like she gonna whoop your ass or something. You know? But that's the delusions of you women, and that's why you're gonna find out. When you're without that hedge of protection, like it says, verse 33, 23, 24, it says, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. So you see, all right, you know, as a woman, like was brought up before, you know, you conform to that man, you conform to your husband, all right. You pick up his slack, and likewise, he picks up on your inconsistencies. You pick up on his inconsistencies. That's why the scriptures, one of the things that pleases the Lord is when a man and a woman come together in unison. That unison, you know, that unison, you know. And I hate to say it like this because again, we're in a Babylon, you know, and don't look at it from a Western mindset, but hey, you women have to be good little dogs, man, good little puppies, you know. I hate to say it like that, but hey, a dog, man, you know, that when I think of unison, I just think of the relationship with that dog, man, you know, because that's how we always, Yahweh Shai, man, we got to be dogs for Yahweh Shai. You know, that's what women always say, men are dogs. Well, dogs are loyal, they're faithful, and you can't beat loyalty, man. You know, I got this little dog, man. I hate this little shit, man. You know, I hate this little shit, but hey, that loyalty that I get, you know, I've never experienced loyalty I've never experienced such loyalty from this little shit, man. You know, because if I want a dog, man, I want to get a real dog, man. I want to get a pit bull or something, you know, a Doberman or something, not no little shih tzu, man. I want a little, you know, I tell the children to go out, you know, when they have to walk the dog, man, and be careful because, hey, a fucking bird can just come down and just swipe this bitch and, you know. So if I get a dog, I want a real dog. But nevertheless, hey, this dog, hey, gets my affection. It gets my attention. That these people are trying to get out of me. That they're trying to get, you know, they seek that attention. You know, and it's unfortunate because hey, you know, all my affection for the most part goes towards this damn dog that I don't even like. I don't even want. But that loyalty, you can't beat that loyalty. You know, you can't beat loyalty. You know, you can't beat that loyalty, man. You know, so that's why, hey, you know, like I said, we're like dogs for Yahweh Shema Shai. Perfect unison. You know, that unison, you know, when I stand up and I gotta, you know, do what I gotta do, you know, the dog knows, hey, get the fuck out the way, you know, move out the way. And I don't, you know, I'm not stepping all over the little shit or anything because the dog knows, man. It's just that unison, man. That perfect unison. You know, but you can't beat that loyalty, man. And it's again, essentially, that's how you women got to be. You got to be like dogs, good little puppies. You know, again, you call yourselves, you always revert to yourselves as bad bitches. Well, why not be a good bitch? You know, why not be an obedient bitch? And before y'all start, you know, talking shit, well, why is it that when you're around your homegirls or whatever, y'all refer to each other as bad bitches, but when a man calls you a bitch, oh, it's World War III, it's the end of the world. You know, again, the hypocrisy. But nevertheless, like I said, why not be a good bitch? Why not be an obedient bitch for your husband? You know. But again, in verse 24, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. And what does the word wife go into? It goes into a woman, which goes into a female servant. All right. And like I said earlier, you know, you women find you're at best, you're more at peace when you're playing your natural role. You know, when you're playing your natural role and being a woman, that helpmeet, that's that servant to your man. Because let's be real, to you women, you know, and hey, you can post a response on the comment board. So I'm posing a question. Let's be real. Don't you get this feeling of excitement, of joy? Don't you get that feeling of accomplishment when you cook a meal for your husband and you see him enjoying that shit? Don't you feel some type of way? Don't you feel that sense of accomplishment? Like, man, I did something. You know? Because that's likewise us with our husband. You know, the Lord is our husband. And when we're able to do videos and, you know, when we're able to do things to pertain to the Lord's business, pertaining to the Lord's work, hey, we get that sense of duty. Like, man, I did something. You know, I did something for my man. I did something for my husband, spiritually speaking. All right. You know, that's why, like I said, we're focused on our purpose, you know, our first love, you know, and that you woman, you have your first faith, man. But like I said, don't you get that sense of accomplishment when you know, you see you're rubbing your man's back and you see him enjoying that shit? Don't you get some sense of accomplishment, man? Again, when you're playing your natural role, you know, you're more at peace. You're better off when you're playing your natural role. You know, so like I said, you know, you hear how certain of us talk, and it's just not, we don't say these things out of spite. You know, we don't say these things out of spite. You know, but when everything's done correctly, hey, the Lord is all about order, and when everything is done in an orderly fashion, it's beautiful. You know, you can never go wrong when you apply the love of Yahweh Shema Shai. Because what is love? Hey, it's Yahweh Shema Shai's love, man. You know, these law, statutes, and ordinances, and when it's done right, man, you can never go wrong, dog. You can never go wrong. So verse 25, it says, where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled. So you see, there it is. All right. You know, you women out here walking by yourself. You know, you're by yourself. You think you don't need a man or whatever the case may be. Hey, you're just going to be easy taken. You're just going to become a booty, man. You're going to become a spoil. You're an easy target. You know, so it would behoove you to, again, come up under a man's vibration, come up under his protection. Or not. Like I said, these little petty crimes, it's just going to get violent real quick. So, yeah.
Horrifying. Arrest in Texas.
We do consider this to be a serial killer. It meets the qualifications or definition of being a serial killer.
Authorities say Juan David Ortiz, a U.S. Border Patrol agent, is allegedly a calculated murderer, killing 4 women, all believed to be sex workers, according to the district attorney, over the past 2 weeks. Investigators seen here combing the scene where they found one victim's body. According to police, Ortiz attempted to abduct a 5th woman Saturday night, but she managed to get away.
Apparently, the suspect pulled out a gun on her and she was able to escape.
That woman found an officer and directed police to Ortiz. He was later arrested hiding in a hotel parking garage. He now faces 4 murder charges and is being held on a $2.5 million bond. A terrifying arrest in Texas.
So you see, man, and this happens a lot too. You know, like I said, a lot of women end up becoming spoiled because, hey, there's no protection. You know, there's no hedge. You know, and you're an easy target. So you have a lot of these guys with authority. You know, these guys in these positions of power. You know, and they target the easy prey. But this shit is going to be more and more common because, like the scriptures talk about, hey, you know, wives being ravished. The women going to get ravished. It ain't going to be a thing of, like I played the clip, man, Jake acting a fool, just being a goofy. No, man, it's going to be, hey, Diego's night. You know, 2 for 1. You know, here it is. Old boy showed up just for the girl, but hey, he got the mama too. You know, he got the mother too. A 2 for 1 deal. You know, but hey, it's going to be a whole lot of Diego's night, man. You know, again, to quote the older Malcolm, man, hey, the cock carousel is going to ride you. You know, your woman will walk around here playing these games. All right, committing on all these abominations, just walking around here, not holding yourself accountable. All right, you wipe your mouth and say you didn't commit no sin. You know, roughly paraphrasing, right? You know, all this is going to come back to bite you in the ass, man. And that's why, hey, you better humble down and get your shit together, repent. All right. And again, how do you serve Yahweh Shema Shai? You serve the Lord, or who is your Lord? It's the Israelite man, and you're gonna find it out. All right, you're gonna find it out, because you know it don't look like it right now. It don't seem like it right now, but just wait. You know, just wait. And brothers, just wait. For brothers, just wait. Because you see it, man, you know, especially when it comes to the so-called black woman and how more and more, you know, she's hey, Eve is getting hella nice. You know, Eve is getting hella nice. Eve is getting hella choosy. All right, because they know, you know, the feeling is in the air, man. All right. You know, but hey, a lot of you are going to be without that protection. And hey, that's on you. Again, you made your bed, sleep in it. Don't expect sympathy from a man of Yahweh Shema Shai. I'm gonna get this one, and I'm gonna last one, and I'm gonna end the segment off. Where's that at? Because this is going to be the spirit that's going to be out there. All that Captain Save-A-Ho spirit. All that shit's going to be at the window. Bear with me. All right, so let me get this, man. 2 Kings, not 1 Kings. 2 Kings 6:24. And it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of the cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. So to show you how bad it was at that time, you know, and it's crazy because it's going to get worse here, man. You know, we're going to see a famine like never before. Famine like never before. Hey, it's going to get bad, man. But to show you how bad it was at this time during the siege, man. You know, an ass's head, you know, being overpriced. And that says a lot, because ain't no meat on when it comes to the head of an animal for the most part, man. Ain't no meat on that. Ain't no meat on that bone, you know. Ain't no meat on that shit. And dove shit, you know. All this being oversold, overpriced, you know, which is just a glimpse of how bad it was. And again, you know, it's gonna get worse in the days to come. All right. But it says, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him. So you see, you know, that crying, you know, it's going to be a wailing out here. All right. You know, you women think that you crying now, you wailing now. Where to go men at and all that. Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. The Lord ain't bringing pain yet. You ain't hurting yet, for real. It says, saying, help my Lord, O King. It says, and he said, if the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the wine press? So basically, hey, cold shoulder, man. Hey, listen, because a lot of you women, again, you're going to be in that pitiful case. And don't expect no sympathy from me. I can't do nothing for you. Because you best believe, I'm sure I speak for brothers, man. I ain't jumping in the way. I ain't jumping in front of no bullet for none one of you people, especially you proud-ass women. I ain't jumping in the bullet for none of you people, dog. Especially you women, them badass kids, you know. There's going to be a whole lot of brothers hitting a Heisman, you know, a Heisman on these hoes, man, you know. Hey, there's gonna be a whole lot of cold shoulder activity going on, man. Like I said, man, all that Captain Save-A-Ho, all that shit's going out the window. That simping spirit, all that shit's going out the window. And you women are gonna really be without, man. You know, and being that, hey, it's like when Aaron and Miriam talk shit against Moses. You know, and again, to show you the order of things, hey, who did the Lord deal with? Because the Lord didn't deal with Aaron. He dealt with Miriam's ass. Why? Because she was out of pocket. She was out of her place. You know, show you, man. Hey, the order of things. Hey, you women better keep quiet, keep your mouth closed. Like I said, be good little puppy. You know, you want to be a bad bitch so bad. Why not be a good bitch? Why not be an obedient bitch? You know, you better look back on Miriam. You know, running her goddamn mouth. What happened? She was without the camp. And ain't no telling what she went through in that time period, being separated, being without. There was no telling what she went through. You know, I'm sure, you know, it was uncomfortable. I'm sure she caught hell. I'm sure she caught hell. You know, dealing with the elements, hearing all type of animals and shit. I'm sure she caught hell. But that's going to be the state of your majority of you women, man. You're just going to be out there by yourself, you know, and good riddance, you know. So that concludes this segment. Lord, want to get to the next one. All praise to you, how about Shemal Shah Shalom. To you, hopefully, like.